Well, I met Brian how many years ago, Helen?
When Tony was 65.
Was it when Tony was 65?
No, 60.
How do you know?
Because it was at his birthday
Yes.
party.
At Rhonda's house?
Yes.
Right. So when Tony was 65, which was a
60.
long time.
60.
60.
60.
I'm sorry.
I'm Maxine.
Oh, you're Brian's idol. Deanna.
Oh, you're Diana. Nice to meet you, Diana. I know a lot about you. Brian, my dear, when I was introduced to him by Helen and Tony at Tony's 60th. 60, Tony? That was a long time ago.
Yes.
That wasn't so
Very, very long
that
time.
wasn't so long ago. He immediately, I mean, first of all, he was just getting married. And I didn't want him to get married because I fell in love with him immediately. Not as a lover, but as my little brother. And he became my little brother, and remained my little brother. And my relationship and friendship with Brian was one of just pure love. We never spoke, but he didn't tell me at the end of the conversation, I love you, Max. You know, and I would do the same. And he was the most generous, the most giving, the kindest human being I know. I introduced Brian to friends of mine. You know, he'd come, I'd be in New York, and you know, he'd always take you to the theatre or invite you to the theatre. If I didn't send Brian 100 people to go to the theatre, I didn't send him one. And everybody went to see a play at some stage. People who had never been to Broadway discovered Broadway because of Brian. And his generosity was abounding. I introduced him to people like, I remember introducing him to June Wong. They became great friends. You know, they were just inseparable. I introduced him to my friend Susan Dougal. To my shock and surprise, her son got married and Brian was invited to the wedding and I wasn't. That's the kind of person Brian was. To know him was to love him. And June, by the way, and Susan both sent apologies that they can't be here this evening. So I just wanted to pass it on to Helen. They asked me to tell you. But he was, oh my God, you know, he was impulsive. He did things on the spur of the moment. When Brian moved to Jamaica, I do believe, as one gentleman sitting here said, that you said, Peter said that Brian did have a purpose in coming home. He wanted to be home. He wanted to be here. He wanted. From the first moment I met him, I knew. I mean, he constantly spoke about the fact that he wanted to come to Jamaica.
He did.
Whenever he had a holiday, he said, "Brian, let's go to Europe. Let's go hang out Europe." Hang out. Oh no. He was going
Every
straight
vacation.
to Jamaica. Any opportunity he got, it was straight here because this was his heart and his passion. He always wanted to move back home. For years he spoke about it. For years I tried to dissuade him. Why do you want to do that? You have great holidays. I mean, come on, just enjoy your holidays, you know. And then we tried. When he finally decided to move, I was shocked because I arrived in New York last summer. And I called him and said, "Brian, I'm here." And he said, yeah, that's exactly what I said. I'm not. I said, "What you mean you're not?" "I'm going to Jamaica." "When are you going?" "On Thursday." I arrived on a Tuesday. I said, "All right, I'll see you when you come back." "I'm not coming back," he said. I said, "What do you mean you're not coming back?" He said, "I made a decision, Max. I'm going home." I said, "You're going home? What you going to do?" "Oh, I don't know. It's not important. I'm just ready to go home." You know, this was his time.
He said it would all fall in place.
Yes, exactly that. And it did, you know, because Brian, he looked for jobs. I pointed him in so many directions of so many jobs he had no interest. He really did not want to be involved in a working situation. He wanted to enjoy
No,
Jamaica.
what it was Brian, honestly, was so tired of, this is what he told me, the theater life, not having weekends off, not having, working 6 days a week constantly, working nights. And because of that feeling that he couldn't maintain a relationship, you know, with somebody he had feelings for, because he couldn't be around at the times when they needed him. And then he just said that he wanted to be in Jamaica by 50. And he just decided that's what he wanted to do because he wanted to live. And then I also was helping him from there trying to find jobs. And this is what he said to me. He says, "I don't want to be married to a job." And most of my friends are like in hotel businesses and stuff. And he says, I don't want to go back to that type of job because I'm going to feel like I'm married to it again. And that's what I wanted to get away from. So I don't know if it's that he didn't want to, because he said he was going to try and have fun and learn Jamaica for the first year, and then he would.
Well, he was certainly doing that.
Yeah.
He was enjoying every aspect of Jamaica, and everybody who met him, everybody I introduced him to along the way loved him. To know that man was just to love him, and the love he had. I mean, he constantly, everybody here, he spoke about you. His love for his son, Leighton, your father's love for you was absolutely abounding.
You know, and I've actually had had a lot of questions and just comments thrown my way over the past week. A lot of the questions were, do you know how proud he was of you? And you realize how proud. My answers are always like, yeah, I know. And here's how I know. Because every time he would introduce me to somebody new, whether it be in New York or here or anywhere, he would introduce me to that same person a couple months later, again, and then that same person a couple months later, again. And I eventually got to the point where that person is like, yeah, I know your son, Dad. I know who your son is. And it happened with everybody. And this is the way he would say it. He would be like, have you met my son? Have you met my son?
Yes, that was exactly
Have
him.
you met my son?
That was exactly him.
And it got to the point where he would introduce me to everybody. I thought he was eventually going to introduce me to Grandma Helen as his son. And I would have been like,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I know Grandma. But yeah, I knew he was proud of me.
And
I was proud of him too.
Well,
Like,
we all
you
knew.
know, I was
Let me
proud of
tell
him
you,
too.
he made sure we all knew. You know, he constantly reminded us of his son,
Yeah.
who he loved so much, and his mother, who he absolutely adored. My dear, you were so special.
And
You
his
were the
sister.
woman. And his sister.
Yeah,
I
everything
never knew
beyond.
you.
But
I never met you, but I knew you. I knew you really well because Brian told me a lot about you. I adored Brian. I can't even begin to explain what a vacuum this is going to be in my life. Not hearing, I missed his voice. You know, I miss that voice. The thought I'm never going to hear it, you know, is unbelievable. But I hear it. He woke me up the other morning in my, you know, in my sleep. Brian to me is, I just know he's having a great time where he is because that's what he did. Have a good time. The love that he shared with I think it was love, you know, that he shared with so many people, and that he gave when he got Jamaica loved him. I didn't know anybody. I put Brian in a couple of commercials. He was so proud.
Yeah, he was. He showed them to me at Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see that? I'm right there. Look quick.
Yeah, you have to look real fast. Yeah. And he said you have to look real fast.
Your eyes, where his
They were totally his
You
ads.
seen my ad yet?
And when he was on set, I mean, he just charmed the world because he had such good manners, and he had such a wonderful, warm way of just sort of drawing you in. That they were his ads. I mean, they really were his ads, and I was so happy to have him there. No matter, you know, and then we were going to do a lot more. He told me just before, you know, that he wasn't going to work. He figured he was okay. He had, you know, his pension, and why not? He was going to enjoy life, and I think he did.
Yeah.
He called me. He was on the phone to me, you know, at least 8 times a day, and always with something new, some idea, some exciting thing that he'd come up with.
And he wasn't afraid to share his knowledge with anyone.
And he was so intelligent. He was so bright. About 3 weeks before, not 2 weeks before his birthday party, he knew I was ill. I had a medical problem and I had to go and check out. Brian hopped on Duxford Express and found his way to St. Anne's Bay.
Wow.
To spend the weekend with me. And another friend of mine came from Port Antonio. We had the most amazing weekend. We laughed, we joked, we ate. Oh my God, how we ate. Let me tell you, we just ate the whole place down. Came back into Kingston joyous. He made my neighbor cook him a big pot of fried fish. He says, I'm tired of buying food. I want this escovitch fish to take with me. And he took it home and we ate it before I got to his house. it was just all joy. Every moment with him was joy and
He
pleasure.
spoke about you a lot, Maxine. He did. And he was very gracious for your mentorship and your friendship.
He was my baby brother. I always considered him the baby brother I never had, and I will love him forever. Thanks for him. Thanks for him.
I have a friend who came to the house one day when he was here last time. There. I don't even know where I am. And she came to drop off a Christmas pudding. And he was there. Met him for 5 minutes. She's coming to his remembrance. 5 minutes, all of 5 minutes.
That was him?
All of 5 minutes.
He used to
Roger, sorry. No, go on.
Jennifer and I met Brian from part of the same Silver Sands.
The gainers.
You know, and every year, of course, you know, we look forward to getting together with everybody, including Brian. But we always, you know, I enjoyed his, as you said, you know, his fun attitude. I mean, some of the stories he would tell about things that went on at his theater. I mean, we're just, you know,
Oh my God, that's
you know,
cool.
those are just hilarious, just to start with. But the also thing I remember, you know, we'd have these domino games and we were playing, and Brian sit down there, and sometimes he sit down and says, how do you know that? You know, and we'd have all these games, and you know, yes, exactly. But what I remember, and Max actually reminded me, is on one particular night, we were all sitting down there chatting and reminiscing. My sister was there, who was in Tampa now. And we were, you know, talking about going back in time and how old and what we can remember, and making fun of old cartoons that we used to watch and stuff like that. And unfortunately, I went and made a mistake of passing on some information, which maybe I shouldn't share here. I don't know. but I went and told Brian that, you know, well, everybody there, like, oh, you know, I can remember when my mom, you know, used to have one of probably the last horse and buggies that was around in Kingston, you know, when I was a little boy, and I took for a short period of time before the poor horse died. We actually used to go to taken to prep school there, you know.
I heard about that.
Well, I tell you, what a mistake. Every time I saw Brian for the rest of that weekend, I'd hear and Roger, how long did it take for this horse? I mean, there was just constant ripping
No,
around.
from then, every time he saw him, it was always about the horse and buggy.
So I have been able to live down this horse and buggy story. And ever since that point, every time Brian looks at me, I know some comments about to come on this poor horse and buggy. So I won't forget that for a while.
What's the question in those?